I would like to thank you, Jerry, Abraham, for this whole participation, and I would like to get things right. I teach, not that I teach, yes, I teach people what I know, what I understand from what I get from your teachings. And I'm a little nervous, I'm sorry. All right, so the way that I understand it and the way that I explain it to people is that...
So guide that word. Just take that opportunity right there and guide that feeling into a little different place. I'm nervous and I'm sorry. So we don't want you to be nervous and we don't want you to be sorry. But here you are having a moment that's new, that has the potential. So just guide it just gently and deliberately. So am I more nervous or am I pleased to be here? Did I sort of set it up and get myself right there on the front row? And did I have intentions, and did my intentions get satisfied? And don't I have a yes moment happening here more than anything else?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can say I'm nervous, or I can say I can feel nervous, or I can feel fulfilled, and you get to choose which way you lean it.
Fulfilled.
Yeah. So just take a little bit of time, because this is the now moment. Because if you don't if you start off feeling nervous, you might talk yourself out of it, but you might just get more nervous. So why not guide it when the momentum is just getting started? So, and are you sorry?
No.
You're not sorry.
No.
You don't have a thing in the world to be sorry about. And so mold that word sorry into something that feels a little better. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, we know that.
Excited.
We know that. Esther said to someone the other day, "Are you happy?" And then she remembered this was something they did as kids. "Are you happy?" Well, then tell your face. But if you are happy, you don't have to tell your face. Your face knows.
Right.
See? All right, just a little aligning, because everything's now.
Thank you.
We're eager to hear you.
Okay, so I told my friends who asked me about the law of attraction that they are creators and that they have the ability to focus, kind of like your words. And you have these five senses. You have a sixth sense, which is your feelings. So we have the ability to hear, smell, taste, and see and listen. And hear. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So we have these five senses, and your emotions guides all of these, and you're able to create and tune in to whatever you desire by feeling good. Let's say if you want to tune into a vehicle, you want a vehicle. Basically, you have to use your five senses to charge yourself, for the vehicle. You have to imagine the color that you want to see. You have to smell like the leather, the interior. You have to hear the engine. You have to, use.
And we're going to ask you a question.
Yes.
If a person were able to do that, to see it and smell it and so forth, what effect would that have on them in the now?
I think that it would charge them to...
And what does it feel like to be charged?
It feels good.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what you're actually saying to your friends, rather than saying you can create or attract a car so that you can feel good, what you're actually saying to them is you can use your mind to feel good right now.
Yes.
See, this is a really big distinction, because once you get it that you can use your mind to feel good, and you feel good, then you're on the disc, and everything that you put into your vortex can flow to your experience.
Yes.
So most people have it backwards. Use your mind to get the car, and then you'll feel good. Use your mind to feel good, and then you'll get the car. And now we want to take it a step further. Use your mind to feel good, and getting the car won't matter because you feel good. But that scares people. They think we're trying to talk them into just feeling good. And no one wants that. So how are your friends taking it? Don't you find that most of them are still eager about life? Or have they convinced themselves that they can't have things so they don't feel so good?
I mean, they get excited, and they practice, and they see things come to them.
We like to encourage focus and awareness of what the focus brings. And so we encourage choosing things that you don't have resistance practiced about. In other words, if a person has wanted a car, and they don't want just any car, they want that car. And that car doesn't just cost a little, that car costs a lot. And they don't have that kind of discretionary income right now. And since they're equating having that with spending that, and spending that with earning that, then they have some obstacles in their path that they have to overcome.
Yes.
So we like to encourage them to get the hang of this by using the power of their mind, spending the vibrational currency on things that the universe can yield to them right now.
Okay.
Right now. Esther was sitting on her porch the other day in Texas, and she'd been out there for a few hours, editing, working on some different things. And the pool makes quite a bit of noise because there are waterfalls involved. So she was enjoying the auditory sounds around her, and there was an occasional frog and an occasional bird, but for the most part she was there, she was alone, and it was a quiet morning, and she'd been there for hours. And then, for pleasure, she started focusing on a rampage of thoughts, and she came to a point of clarity. Some of it we have discussed here today, a point of exhilarated clarity, and the little bugs in the trees that she doesn't see but she knows rub their legs together and make noise. There must have been 100,000 of them who all applauded at the precise moment that she came to that thought. And she looked out into the trees where she could not see them and said, I know. Because she knew they had been inspired from that broader mastermind to rendezvous with her in an obvious way as a demonstration of alignment, you see. Now, you just can't buy that with money, but you can spend your vibrational currency on it. So as you encourage your friends to just focus upon things that they don't have resistance about, and you together play with them in conversation about it, and then hang around together for not very much time, an hour or two, and watch how many demonstrations the universe will give you that lets you know that we are all aware of what you're talking about, aware of what you want, aware of where what you want is, and aware of how to lead you to it, and boom, again and again and again and again and again, you're going to have that affirming experience that lets you know that you are the center of the universe. That there are masses that are standing in the wings where you can't see them, that are in on what you are in on, assisting you, you see. You begin to feel never alone. You begin to feel always involved. You begin to know your power and your value and your worthiness, you see. And it doesn't take very much of that before you say, oh, I like that, what about that? I like that, what about that? So that you begin directing the energy. And what you'll learn, both about monetary currency and vibrational currency, is the more of it that you spend out the bottom, the more of it comes back in the top. In other words, you'll just find yourself so involved in the expenditure of this energy that feels good, and therefore the equivalent reciprocant of more energy coming back in, that it's not like, have you ever had a nest egg, a little clump of cash that you really didn't want to spend because that you didn't know how soon you were going to get more back in, and so you didn't want it to go out because it felt like diminishing? Mm-hmm. Well, this is the opposite of that, because the more of this you spend, the more comes back in, until you begin to understand that you can have a little bit that you're rotating, or you can have a lot that you're rotating. You can have a little clarity that you're rotating through you, or a lot that you're rotating through you. You can have a little bit of cash that's rotating through your experience, or you can have a lot of cash that's rotating through your experience. This is what you are demonstrating to your friends, you see. Our favorite conversation about the universe demonstrate, we would encourage all of you to make a short list maybe as soon before you even drive out of the parking lot. Just get something to write on and make a short list of something that you would like to see that doesn't cost any money necessarily. It could, but it doesn't cost any money. It's just something that you're interested in seeing. Just pick something. Write 3 or 4 things on your list and watch how fast the universe brings it to you. Not once, but twice, but again and again and again and again and again and again and again, in demonstration that we saw you write it down, we know what you meant by it, we know where all of those things are, we know where you are in relationship to all of those things, and when you're feeling good like you are today, there's going to be plenty of demonstrations of that alignment. And once you show yourself that with that list, then you can make an endless list. Esther has been sitting and writing. She has a pen that her grandchildren gave to her that looks a little like a magic wand. And she likes the way it feels in her hand, and she likes the way she often feels when she focuses in writing. And so she sort of waves that magic wand around and creates weather or whatever she likes. In other words, you are unlimited beings. You just got to know it. And until you know it, you're not unlimited. But when you know it, then you are unlimited, you see. So we like the conversation that you're having with your friends. Something more?
No, that's all. Thank you.
So what is the next conversation what would you like to add to it? Do you talk to them one at a time? Or are you in a group when you have these discussions?
Sometimes I'll be in a group.
So what would you now like to add to the conversation?
They have to feel good about, whatever they think about.
And would you say the 5 senses that everyone accepts all exist?
Or that they have to follow their feelings and feeling good.
But could you say that those 5 senses exist for the benefit of their personal feeling?
Yeah.
In other words, you don't see. If you can just hear this, think about sight, and think about all the things that you could look at, and then just say to yourself, I have this gift of sight for the pleasure that it brings to me. Doesn't that put it in a whole other place? Doesn't it make you want to point it toward that kind of thing? I have this gift of sound for the pleasure that it brings to me.
Nice.
This sensual feeling of touch, my physical body has all of these sensory perceivers within it, all for the pleasure that it brings to me. My sense of taste, all for the pleasure that it brings to me. What other reason would there be for that? What other reason would there be for the sense of taste other than for the pleasure of that which it brings to you? Can you think of any other reason?
For expansion.
Say again?
Expansion.
Well, there is no other reason. We're just doing a sales job on you. We want you to feel that you just didn't get planted here with your inability to see or hear or smell or taste or touch. You came with the ability to translate vibrationally for the purpose of, and we want you to feel what the purpose of it is, for the joy of your physical experience. And you came with the ability to think for the pleasure of your personal experience, you see. And humans have kind of got off that track. You think you got to think to solve problems. That's not what it's about. You're thinking for the pleasure of the thought. And when you start reaching for the thought because of the pleasure that it could possibly give you, then you don't say you're sorry because that's not a pleasurable thought. And you don't say you're nervous because that's not a pleasurable thought. You focus your mind in ways that brings you pleasure, and then you sustain that high-flying disc vibration, and then you live the life that you came to live. We've sort of come full circle, haven't we?
Thank you.
Really good. We enjoyed this conversation. Yeah.